Joining us now at the podium is Iowa head coach Fran McCaffery. McCaffery begins his second season with the Hawkeyes and welcomes back 11 letter winners and 4 starters from last year's squad. Coach, if you'd like to go ahead and start with an opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I feel really good about our team right now. As we came into the season, I think the most important thing was to look back to the previous few months since our season ended. We had some highlights, we had some lowlights last year, but what we did was improve. And I think I've been around long enough to know that you have to watch and see how our players respond to how the season ended and what they do in the spring, what they do in the summer, and what they do in the fall. And what I've seen is a tremendous commitment individually to improving physically, which I think is important, especially for our big guys. When you look at Basabe and Zach McCabe and Andrew Brommer, Devin Archie, body fat down, weight up, much better shape to play the kind of style that we want to play. Now they understand what we're doing. And I think when you look at the fact that we have so much experience back and an excellent recruiting class, I feel very strongly that we're going to be much improved.
Thanks, Coach. Go ahead and open it up for questions. On the left-hand side.
Fran, could you give us an update on a couple of your injured guys, specifically White and Brommer?
White's fine. The 2 guys that concern me right now are obviously Andrew Brommer hurt his knee on the first day of practice. It could have been worse, but it wasn't a good one. So he's probably going to be out overall about a month. He's progressing well. He's been doing some pool workouts, Rick, and he had worked so hard to get in great shape. I mean, he was down 4% body fat, and he was up 8 pounds, up over 250, and we need that kind of bulk in this league. So he was playing great, but unfortunately got hurt. So he'll stay on top of it, but he's probably a good 3 weeks out before he can play. Hopefully it'll be sooner. Devin Marble's a bigger concern. He suffered a concussion about the 3rd or 4th day of practice, and he's been out since then. As you know, that's something that is much more scrutinized than it ever was before. He looks fine, says he feels fine, but there's a variety of tests that he has to pass that are not going as well. So, we're not going to risk that.
On the left.
Fran, you talked on Media Day about the challenge of implementing your system in the Big Ten against a predominant style. Doc talked about that Doc Sadler talked that there's some different styles in the Big Ten that you have to adjust to. Can you talk about first of all, implementing your up-tempo style in this league and running into different preparations across the spectrum?
Well, obviously, in this league, there are a tremendous group of coaches that prepare extremely well. It is primarily a half-court league. We prefer to go a little bit quicker than that. It's not that teams don't run. Some of them are opportunistic running teams. Some will run based on who their point guard is, and some are more set play-oriented teams. I have always been a quick up, attack the rim, and press more. We didn't press nearly as much last year as I wanted to, for 2 reasons. Number one, we weren't deep enough, and number 2, the talent of the perimeter players in this league and the ball handling ability of the front court guys is so good that you better be pressing correctly. Your slides and your angles and things of that nature better be on target, or else you could press and get ripped to shreds. So it's great to say those kinds of things, but what you have to be able to do is back it up with quality play. And we did that some. Other times we would press and back it off because it wasn't working as well. Now we're in year 2. We have more time to spend working on that and get our guys organized. Now we're teaching it to 3 players and not the entire team. And it's always better, whatever presses you run, are always better in years 2, 3, and 4. So I think, can you play faster? Absolutely. This is not a walk-it-up league like I think a lot of people think it is, but it is a league where there's going to be a lot of strategy and there's going to be different approaches, and I think that's part of what makes it so much fun for us as coaches, and I think for the fans as well.
On the aisle on the right.
Fran, how much is Nelson Boeheim playing the 5 now that Brahmer's been out in practice?
You know what, Scott? He's actually still playing the 4, and that would be my desire. Archie's been playing the 5. He's doing extremely well. Actually, our leading rebounder from the first day of practice has been Gabe Olaseni, our 6'10 freshman. He's been phenomenally consistent. Aaron White and Zach McCabe are playing extremely well. So, I don't know right now who I would start in that other position. You might be right. It might be White or McCabe, but it very well could be Archie or Olaseni. So I would prefer to leave Nelson at the 4. Leave him there. I think that will help him stay out of foul trouble. But he is getting reps at both spots and can play both. He is up to 234, so he could play a little bit more there. I should say he would be a little more effective there maybe than he would have been last year. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Any further questions? On the left.
Something else that Doc talked about coming into the league is the attendance in the Big Ten and the crowds. And you've talked about going on the road in the Big Ten and how difficult it is. How do the crowds play into that, and how different is it from your experience elsewhere?
Well, it's phenomenally different from my experiences elsewhere. I mean, we didn't play in front of crowds anywhere near what we see on a nightly basis. And I think that's what makes it so exciting. I think when you factor in everything that goes into playing on the road, obviously there's the fatigue part of the travel. And we try to eliminate that by chartering we charter as much as possible. So it's not like the old days where you were stuck in airports all the time. So that helps, but you still have to travel. You're still playing on their floor. You're still staying in the hotel, and then you're dealing with the opponent's fans, which are going to be on you. And the crowds, they impact the game in a positive way for the home team. I mean, there's a reason why 75% of the time the home team wins. And it's all of those factors together that play into it. There's no question that we're going to shoot the ball better at home. And that's just a fact. It's not that you couldn't go on the road and have a great shooting night, but on a percentage basis, you're going to shoot the ball better at home. You're going to turn the ball over less at home. And the game is influenced greatly by the intensity level of the crowd. And there's not one crowd in this league that is not great. So I think all of us would say to a man, you want to protect your home floor and then have enough toughness and have enough quality guard play to win some of those close games on the road. And that's typically the teams that end up in the top half of the league and end up in the NCAA tournament.
Last question, front row.
Fran, you're an Eastern guy in a Midwestern locale that typically has had a little bit of a problem finding a certain foothold in recruits anyway. After a full year recruiting, have you developed any philosophy along those lines? Do you just get players wherever you can get them?
Well, obviously, we have tried to lock in to the best players in our state. I think everyone in this league does that. But after that, then you're going to go to the Midwest. When you grow up in the Midwest, you grow up with a Big Ten influence. I think most young players, they watch the Big Ten games, and they've grown up following their parents and their coaches. They grew up following the Big Ten. So, we're going to go there, and then we're going to take advantage of the contacts that I have back east and my staff and so forth. But when it's all said and done, I think what the Big Ten Network has done is enabled us to pretty much go anywhere. When you think about, you look at our 3 best players, one's from New York, one's from LA, and one's from Iowa City. So that pretty much covers the whole the whole country. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go anywhere we have to find players. And when they think of the Big Ten, it's not something that I have to sell. I mean, everybody knows the Big Ten. They know who's in our league, and they want to play on that television network and play in front of those kinds of crowds. So then they come and take a look, and they see that Iowa City is a great city, and we have phenomenal facilities. Our new facility has been very helpful there. Our new practice facility, weight room, all of those things together, and they see a level of commitment. So, it's a step-by-step process, but it's not as difficult to sell as you might think.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.